Diane Keefe, and this is your caregiver tip for the day. We're going to be talking today about emergency preparedness. And in lieu of the tornadoes and hurricanes and other natural disasters lately, I would like to talk to you about what you should put in your emergency preparedness bag. And I would like to recommend that you get a bag big enough, because this didn't turn out to be big enough when I was putting mine together. In fact, probably luggage on wheels would be the best choice. It would be easier for pulling it behind you instead of having to carry for any distance. The first thing that you'll want to put in it is a list of your medications and important contacts. Also, make sure you have a personal health history so that you've got all of your doctor's names and any information about surgeries, vaccinations, things like that that might be needed in an emergency situation. Next, look for a weather radio. This one happens to be both crank and battery. So if I don't have electricity, I can still listen to the weather and get information that I need. Next, put in flashlights and make sure that you've got enough batteries to make sure all of these things work, and keep them separated until time of use. You'll want antibacterial soap and probably some hand washing. This happens to be a little flashlight that I had, and some dishwashing liquid. For those that get poison ivy, a little bit of that. These are also crank flashlights that you can use to see in the dark if there's an emergency. You'll want a water bottle and enough water for at least 3 days. That's 1 gallon per person per day for everyone in your household. You might want to have some latex gloves depending on what's happening. Or you may want to have toilet paper. And you will want a cleansing cloth or washcloth and at least 3 days worth of underwear. You may need a map to tell where you're going if you have to go out of the area. And it would be wise to check with your family and agree on several spots where you might call if you're trying to reach each other. Because many times cell service and satellites go out during a time of an emergency. It's recommended that you carry a whistle, because then you can reach someone if you're under debris. This is a cup that you can use. Have enough medications for at least a week. And you'll want to prepare for some food. Now, vegetables and fruits are not easy to get during an emergency, so I've got my Juice Plus. And foods that can actually last for quite a long time, like nuts, fruits in a bag that can last at least a year, dried crackers, peanut butter, and power bars. There may be some other things, and also allow yourselves a little bit of comfort food, like your favorite chocolates. That's what would go in my bag. You need to worry about your pets as well. So you may want to have your dog food available and your cat food, and maybe a tether line so that you can keep them close to you because you don't want them getting hurt, or a leash, and of course a water bowl. So these are some things that you can have on hand in your emergency spot. Find a spot in your home that is the safest and the place where you would go during a tornado. I also have silverware, gum, and some glasses, a heat pad that was given to me during a health show, some books in case I get really bored during an emergency, and of course personal grooming aids like a brush, a comb, and a nail kit. I also have a little bit of thread and needle, and of course matches and candles. And for the headache that is likely to occur, I have something there. I also have a deck of cards, because you never know. Make sure you have a first aid kit. That's one of the most important. You'll want personal health products to make yourself feel better. You'll also want to have trash bags on hand, because if none of the toilets are working, you may be using this as part of your toilet. I don't know what time of the year it will be, so I put in a windbreaker and a scarf, because I like to have a scarf around my neck if it's windy or cold. You may need an air mask, because if it's like 9/11, the particles in the air were really toxic, and something like this would be very helpful in the event of a blast or explosion. You may want some paper and pens so that you can write notes or tack them so that you can communicate with family members that may come by when you've left. I also have plates. And sometimes, like today when it's over 100, you may need a fan. Have a good pair of tennis shoes available, because you may need to do a lot of walking, and you want to make sure that whatever you've got on your feet is going to be comfortable. You may need a blanket, depending on the time of year, because you may be sleeping on the ground. So make sure and have a blanket available. You will also need soap and washcloths and towels. So have that on hand. And if you are sleeping on the ground, I decided to put in mine a little mat that I could put on the ground, so that if I'm going to sleep, I can sleep at least on the mat. Last but not least, make sure you've got your glasses and something to clean them with so that you can see where you're going. This represents what I would put in my kit. I'm not sure what you would put in yours, but give it a thought, because there have been too many emergencies lately, and it's important that everyone be prepared. This is your caregiver tip for the day on emergency preparedness, and I am Diane Keefe.